Let me ask you a question. Do you have one of those friends who are like super annoying because they're always cold? Well, that's me right here. It's like getting really cold here, and I don't want to pay extra $50 a month to turn on my heating this soon. It's only October. Well, it's very cold here in Canada. It's been a very hot week in the stock market. So let's go over some trades since Wednesday. So the main play on Wednesday was this stock, IDXG. So this is actually a stock that I used to trade a lot in 2016. I remember this stock used to spike all the way to, was it like $20 or $30? But that's why I was surprised that it came back. I remember this was a low float stock, and it still is. But the thing is, locates on these kind of stocks are really hard to find. So I never got a big size on this. You can see gapping up pre-market, it was already over this 480s daily level. So if we break out above here, we can gap fill all the way to potentially to 580s and $6. In the high of the day, the stock did do that. I was short on the front side, started some early pre-market already, but I was out almost of it. This is where you kind of learn from the past few mistakes, because IDXG is a low float stock, and remember what we talked about the last few times, this low float algo, they'll drop the stock from pre-market highs, hold some support levels intraday, and then squeeze it back up. In this case, it squeezed all the way to 580s. I did want to get short on the squeeze move. That's where I did scale in some shorts. I covered most of that scale. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna let it find the top and re-add into it. I thought the top was gonna be the $6 psychological mark on the daily chart. You can see we spiked to 570 and we just dropped. And honestly, that drop happened so fast. There was no way I could have caught that. And it did feel like I was chasing at this point, so I didn't add into it. But overall, I didn't have a big size on IDXG. Borrows were pretty expensive, and they rang out really fast. They were about 12 cents a share. I only got about 3,000 shares, so it's not a big position in the grand scheme of things. But I did short it on the way down, pretty nice. I did added some on weakness, small, but covered into the flushes, and I was out most of it by this point. I did have some small left, just trying to let it fade out. So that's IDXG. That was the trade on Wednesday. The second stock, EFOI. So this one is a similar setup as IDXG, but this was a pump. So whenever there is an actual pump, and this stock had no news. So when this kind of stock is up, was it up like 90%, 100% on the day with no news? That's probably going back to where it came from, which is actually, I underestimated how much it could fade. I was out all of it by $10. I thought they were going to start holding this $10 level. You can see I covered way too early. But I'm always trying to be careful with these stocks that tank to pre-market lows and low of the day support, because I felt this could essentially do the same kind of squeeze move like IDXG did. Also MDGS and MDLY earlier this week. So when you kind of learn those behavior and you're trying to protect yourself, sometimes it does mean you take profit too early, but you gotta have to be okay with that, right? It's either taking profit too early, leaving too much on the table, or getting squeezed on a secondary move we saw on IDXG. So you have to balance that yourself, whether the risk and reward is worth it. For, in this case, EFOI, I thought it was really gonna squeeze. Didn't happen, so no, I was out by $10, but the stock later on, you can see faded to 9, and actually previous day close, 840. I think the most important lesson is here on EFOI is that they had no news. Yesterday, I also played NIO, and unfortunately, I was always long NIO. NIO is not a stock I want to fight on the short side. A lot of people are getting squeezed shorting NIO. I'm just like, why are you shorting a stock that is breaking all-time highs? On the day, that was the highest ever buying volume on NIO. So don't fight this kind of volume and don't fight a stock that's up so much. And it's a large cap stock. It's not a small cap. So you can't just expect it to fade it down to earth like IDXG. So NIO, I took a loss on it. I waited for a dip, which I did over here. I think that's a pretty good entry. But I just thought, we're going to retest $27 near the high of the day. Didn't happen. But I kind of also want to let it work and slowly add into the position. But you can see on this NIO position, I did stop out for a small loss, maybe 20-30 cents. I did buy it back up for some overnight swing. So if you're under PDT, if you are not comfortable with day trading, a lot of times I take a lot of these swing overnight positions or swing for a couple of day positions near 30 minutes or near the end of the day into the close. So that's what I like to do. I like to swing these kind of stocks overnight. And this morning, today is Thursday, it did gap up all the way to 27.50s and then later on ran to $28. So that was a really nice swing on NIO. So those were the trades from Wednesday. Today, Thursday, the biggest play for me was on the long side on FSLY. So you can see this stock, this is a large cap stock. It was trading around 120s yesterday, previous day close. And the stock actually tanked all the way to $86 and below because they cut guidance. So it's a cloud, it's a company in the cloud storage space, cloud technology. Guidance, they cut the guidance. That's unfortunate. That's bearish for the stock. But for the stock to drop, $20 overnight, actually $40 overnight, if it dropped from $120 to $80, it's a little bit overdone. And that's why I was leaning more long biased on the stock. I was never shorting the stock. You can see I'm not trying to pick bottoms. I don't pick bottoms on stocks. It just seems like it's free falling. I let it set a bottom, right? You can see it set a low at the market open at $85 and later on spiked up. I let it go. I'm not going to chase it. Let it pull back to, $86 right here. You can see a second low is $86. So technically speaking, it set a higher low, right? Now, if I'm going to long the stock, I have two previous low of the day levels to risk off. I'm not just picking some random bottom that I'm drawing from the thin air, right? So I went long starter position. The idea is that I want to start building a position on the long side. Once it shows me that $87, which when I'm long from 86.80s, $87 is going to hold up. And I longed it starter, right? So if your full size is 1,000 shares, starter, you want to take 100, 200 shares maximum. You don't want to, go too heavy too fast. If you are going in with 500 shares, then that's not a starter. Then you're halfway in. So I went long, sold some into the spike. I want to see if we're going to hold a new higher low. I always get those things confused. And it did. I went long again, added back to full size this time. So now after this ad, I have an average closer to $88 because the second ad was a little bit heavier, right? $88 went all the way to $90. Nice, $2 a share. Sold some into it. This is where, I have trouble letting things run. And to me, $88 all the way to $91, $92s, that's $4 a share. That's really, really decent profit. And that's why I sold most of it here. And after, it spiked from 92 all the way to 93 and failed, I thought this was going to be the top. And that's why I got stopped out rest of it. And you can see I got stopped out right at the bottom of this support here. And the stock later took off to $95. So that's the story of my life. But I'd much rather take the meat of the move than trying to keep on going back in, trying to add. And then, give back profits. That's kind of something I'm trying to do recently. I'd rather just long the front side, use the amount of risk you're comfortable with and take the meat of the move. And you can see the stock later faded from $95 down to $89. So if I keep on trying to go back and trying to capture all of it, thinking that I can go all the way back to $100 or more, I probably would have lost money. So that's why I like to trade the first 2 hours of the day and be done with most of the size. So another decent trade on the day is STAF. So this one definitely did the low float algo squeeze that we've been seeing. And that's why, I left it alone. I was super patient. And truth be told, locates were like 20 cents. So I'm not going to pay 20 cents locate on a stock that's $2. So I only got very, very small size. So pre-market, I left it alone. I actually thought it was going to squeeze. And I really should have went long, but I didn't because it's a $2 stock. I feel like I just didn't. Okay, I missed it. Just be okay. You have to be okay not able to capture everything, both long and short. So I let it squeeze from $2 all the way to $3. That's why I started going in with my tiny size short. Shorted some $3 and let it show me whether it's gonna break down $3 or if it continues holding up, it could actually go to potentially, if you look at a daily chart, if it actually holds $3, it can go to $3.60. $4, but it didn't, so it failed $3. That's where I wanted to go in and short the bounces, which it did. Tanked to about 250, bounced to 280s. That's why I added back in. I guess my full size is still a very small position on the short side on this one. Shorted, covered some at 250s, just to pay myself a little bit. I was out most of it at 190s. I was out all of it by 190s. And re-added some and have some, cover some here. I actually have like the final 500 shares short. I have $2 average, only 500 shares left. I just kind of want to know how low it can go for shits and giggles. Because it's at 140 right now, but the stock came from 80 cents the night before. So, this could pretty much fade to 120s. But at this point, I'm in the money with such a small position. That's why I'm okay just letting it right out and see where it goes. Oh, did you guys see my new plant? So the last plant was really annoying, which is like in the way. So I got this new plant, which has been okay so far. I hope it lives, but I should probably water this. It's looking kind of dry. Oops, sorry. So that was STAF. The other play that was also really nice is SPI, but this one's a similar story where I keep on trying to anticipate that they're going to squeeze. And that's why, I did take a loss on the pre-market short. You can see pre-market, I started in small, covered. This was pretty much a small loss or break even. And I have this small pre-market size left. When it has $14, I thought it could actually squeeze to 15, and that's why I didn't add into it. And at the open, it just kind of dropped. Like this thing literally could not bounce. It's like somebody tied a bunch of rocks to this person's foot and just tanked into the bottom of the ocean. This piece of literally could not bounce. I didn't use most of my size. I located about only, I didn't locate that much, but still I didn't get to use all of it. So this turned out to be it's a decent winner. Because you can see, the stock basically, faded from my entries of $11 down to $9.40. Now I have a small position left, but I didn't get to add, just because, SPI was a former ripper on this day in September. This day is squeezed from $1 all the way to 40s. So, I did think that it could at least go to $15, and it didn't, it just tanked. So you kind of have to be okay with that. After it breaks down this, basically this $11, this $10 level, it's done. Like you can see the selling volume extremely heavy. If you were looking at the tape, the price action, every time it tried to pop back up towards 1160, this slam right here got rejected so quickly. It's like somebody slapped this thing in the face. It's pretty scary. But even though, it was heavy, I wasn't able to add a lot of it because with these low floats, I don't want to add short on the weakness, and that's why you just have to be okay with taking the meat of the move and taking what the market gives you. And this was the NIO swing trade position. You can see I sold too early, 27.20s pre-market, because the market at the time looks kind of frothy. But we later squeezed to $29. You can't try to capture everything. You just have to take the meat of the move. So some comments from the last video that I want to answer. The final countdown is asking, do I have a goal amount I try to make on a daily, or you just try to make as much as possible and stay green? I think it's a good idea to just take the meat of the move, right? And I try not to set a daily goal. But for me, if I can, if you think about it, if you can consistently make just $1,000 a day, then that's 200,000 on the year. So that's more than enough for any person to live off. So I try not to be greedy, but at the same time, there are days in the market where it's like really difficult to even make $100. I remember in September, there was just nothing going on. Everything was choppy, and those were the days where I was like, okay, you have to take a step back and be nimble. If you try to hit that, let's just say $1,000 goal every day, but the market is only giving you $50 or $100, and you keep on forcing those trades. I've done that before, and each time I try to force trades to meet that goal, I end up being red, like $100 or red $500. So it's not worth it trying to force trades. Rather, you want to take the meat of the move on the slow days in the market and really hone in on days like this where there's A+ setups that fit your criteria. Then those are the days where you can capture, your daily goal, and most times actually more than that. So that's kind of how I operate. I don't try to meet daily goals. I think it's good to have, a mental amount of what you want per week, but daily goals, I think it's very, very toxic. We'll have one more. Faye is asking, hello humble trader, would you really like to know how to beat the algo? You can't beat the algo. I think, that's the thing that people have to understand. You're not trying to, in day trading at least, you're not trying to beat the market. You're trying to find out how it works, how all the algos work, how the market makers work, and be on the same side as them. I know it sounds very difficult, but you're not trying to beat, these algos. If you try to beat them, you're gonna go broke first. So you just want to be on the same side. You understand how they operate and take that to your advantage as a day trader. Okay guys, if you have more questions you want me to answer, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.